Hey YouTube, it's Old Prime 13 here with another Transformers video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Studio Series Deluxe Class Transformers 1 Elita 1. So, been a long time coming for this figure. It has been an entire year since the movie came out that this figure was released. Quite a long wait. But we're finally here, so let's go ahead and get into it. First, we will start with a look at the box. Here we have Transformers, we got the movie logo, Elita 1, we got that nice artwork there of her in a robot mode, and a look at her vehicle mode. We got more of that artwork there on the side. On the other side is just sort of a wraparound of that art. On the bottom, we got legal jargon. On the top, we just got those logos again, and then on the back we have our product shots, a screen cap from the film, and that one-line bio. So that's it for the box. We do also get legal jargon and a lovely instruction booklet. So there is that. And on to the figure herself. And I will say, I do like the paint job, the colors they used here. I do like that glossy pink, it's sort of a hot pink, I think. Maybe a darker pink. I'm not really sure what to classify it. It's pinkish with like a hint of purple to it. But it looks nice. She does come with a couple accessories. One being that signature rifle that was used throughout the movie, and we will talk about this in a little bit. She does also come with the jetpack here, and if I can, and yeah, just everything on tabbing, but the backpack. There we go. And in robot mode, these two tabs right here just go into these slots on her back. She does have some nice silver for the face, and she does have painted blue eyes. Her arms do have, a good chunk of kibbliness to them. They got a big chunk of that vehicle there. And I don't necessarily dislike the way it looks. It almost looks like big armor pieces on her arm. So I don't entirely mind that. Something I do mind is that some of the joints, mainly this one on her hip, are a little too tight to the point where it's actually basically springy, so you can't pose her. Hopefully that's just my copy. I don't think I've heard of anyone else having that problem. Hopefully that is not a widespread issue, but that is definitely one that mine has. So her legs are always stuck right next to each other. Another issue I have is the way her chest tabs in. As many people probably already know, the wheels are hidden back here, and the chest tabs in with this little tab here into these slots on the wheels, like so. And like, while it's a cool idea, it really, I wish it was more secure, because pretty much anytime you move her head, it just unhooks it. It's not a very secure connection. It's solid enough that it passes the shake test, but like anytime you just like even the slightest touch, it just unhooks. So not a fan of that. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it for the issues I have. Let's see. Let's go over articulation. She does have a ball jointed head, which is also on a hinge at the base of the neck because of transformation, so you do get some extra movement with an already pretty good ball joint there. Shoulders are just on ball joints, but you do get 360, you get out that far. Elbows are also just ball joints, but it does give you plenty of motion there. Nothing at the wrist. We do have a 360 waist. Again, the hips are also ball joints, so you can kick that far forward, can kick that far back. She does get some movement out to the side, but there is limited range there, so you do get a hip swivel. There is actually like a measuring peg in there. and we pair it with the ball joint. Oop, too far. You do get at least a decent amount of movement, but still could be better, and obviously that ball joint is really snug, so that doesn't help. You do get double jointed knees for a full bend, which is cool, but that's due to the transformation joint in her knees, which gives her double hinge there. But you know, not complaining. It's always nice to have that extra range of movement. Feet are on ball joints, so you get all sorts of movement there, plenty of movement there. You do also get a heel spur, which is on a hinge if you care to use that somehow. If you really want, I suppose you could give her the feminine high heel look if you really want. I don't know how stable that's going to be though, but you could do that. Make her a little bit taller if you want. There is sort of a little bit of movement back and forth in that ankle piece, just due to that also being a transformation joint, so there is that. But I believe that's everything for articulation. Oh, the knee spikes do move a little bit. Again, more for transformation, but if you want to, you know, move that around somehow, there is an option there. So anyway, let's talk about the accessories. First being the jetpack. And it is a decent little jetpack piece. Again, you can see there are multiple tabs here, along with a peg. That peg hole is for her vehicle mode storage. But yeah, for the robot mode, it just tabs onto these two pegs right here. And there is some nice sculpting and a little bit of gunmetal gray paint there. It would have been cool if they'd somehow, you know, put like blast effect pegs here. I would have liked that, but I feel like they're moving away from blast effect compatibility on a lot of figures now. Because like the gun also does not have blast effect compatibility, which is kind of dumb. But and I guess they just don't want to bother with that stuff as much anymore. It's not every figure, but I've been noticing more figures don't have it lately. But the jetpack is compatible with our other heroes. Let's bring in Optimus here. And for him, it just pegs in on these lower tabs right onto these slots here. Make sure I get solid grip on this. Now he has the jetpack. And I'm glad that they went far enough to make it, you know, cross-compatible with the other figures. So we'll bring in D16, and he, I believe, I'm trying to remember, I haven't actually tried putting it on him yet. I thought I heard that it plugs onto this thing, but that is obviously not true. Oh, you know what? It's probably because I have his little cannon piece here. Let's see. I think it does peg onto the jetpack. Yeah, it pegs onto this final peg right here. Like so, and then yeah, you just put the jetpack on as normal. Or the backpack. So now he has it. Oop. As I throw things around, just chaos everywhere. Total chaos. Get that back on there. And yeah, I do believe it works for Bumblebee as well. Yeah, Bumblebee, I have him in a certain mode, as you can see, but it does work with those same original two pegs right here on his back piece. It just won't go on because I have him in car mode. But since we've discussed that, let's do a quick little thingy, because I've been bringing this up in every video, so I want to make sure to bring it up again in that. Get these guys ready. So in the movie there was that scene where they were all trying to transform for the first time, and for her vehicles basically came out at the wrong spot, and pretty sure we can do something like that, because sorta, but not really. basically is just moving the vehicle wheels down a little bit. She was just kind of like rolling on her ankles like so. So you don't really have to move anything for her to do that. But you can make everyone do what they did in that scene in the movie. You can have her rolling on her ankle wheels, Prime without his head, Bumblebee as a car with arms, and D16 with a tank tread foot. So you can recreate that scene. So yeah, that's cool. Again, hers is, you know, it's pretty much just lying her on her back because you can't really move the wheels out, but it does do it, sort of. So you can say that that's there, which is neat. It's funny. It's a thing that happened. But one other thing we need to talk about is her gun. It is done up in a sort of gray, it's sort of a reflective gray more than a silver for the gun, but it does have some gunmetal paint there in the middle where the barrel is. And this one does have a moving handle, so you can get some different posability with the gun there. It does have a molded barrel with like little rifling in there, which is cool, but again, it's not blast compatible, and I'm kind of disappointed about that. And it does look better than the one that came with Bumblebee. We'll bring that in, but as you can see, there is a bit more to this one just as far as detail goes. Even the molding, it's kind of hard to see, but the molding is a little more detailed. There's like little robotic bits there along the barrel, whereas this is just kind of flat. So it is a slight improvement over the Bumblebee one, but it's nice that they included more than one, because you know these things were everywhere in the movie. And yeah, even here the rifling on hers has, or her gun has rifling, whereas Bumblebee's is just flat. But so yeah, and hers does have a storage tab rather than a big storage peg. But that's about it for that. But if you want, as we saw earlier, you can put it into her hand, and I think it looks best when you wrap her armored hand over, sort of put it on like this, and she can just be doing sort of like the commando Rambo walk while constantly shooting. That's what that looks like to me. I think it's cool. I do want to do a couple size comparisons, but to start we will bring her castmates over again. Here she is next to Studio Series Optimus with his head in the right position. And let me just fix D16's leg here. I'm doing movie magic by transforming it behind the camera. So there's how she looks with the Brobots. And here she is next to her G1 Legacy counterpart, which honestly I still think out of the Elita ones I have, this is probably one of, if not my favorite. It's just a really solid, straightforward figure. Again, I do have my issues with this, but I will say I do like the way she looks. She does look very nice. And despite her flaws, she's not terrible. I mean, could be better, but is far from horrible. But I think that's about it for the robot mode. So I guess we can go ahead and move on to transformation. So we are going to take away her gun here. And first things first, we are going to pop that chest down. And what we want to do is, it can be a little finicky, but there is actually we do want to pull this back too. There is a joint here. You can sort of see it here that lets the arms like sort of open up a little bit. It gives you a little bit more room because you got to unfold these wheels and tear them apart. It is just a friction joint, but that, ironically, that has not happened to me yet, so I didn't realize they could pop off like that. But, oh, whoops. All right, come on. Get back in there. The fact that these spin around so loosely is actually a bit of a problem right now. Okay, there we go. And we just do the same for the other side, and we unfold these. So now we have those wheels, and then we are going to come back here, and we are going to unfold this, and then come under here and unfold this silver bit. Then we are going to come down here to the legs. We are going to open up her shins like so. We're going to fold down that knee spike, and then we're going to sort of bring this whole piece up. We're going to fold in that heel, and we do want to accordion, or rather double hinge this knee down underneath like so. You can see there is sort of like a little groove there for how that's supposed to fit. And then the foot actually is supposed to come all the way up like so, so it nestles in like that. Then we are going to rinse and repeat on the other side. Just going to open this up, flip in that knee spike, and I'll try and show this a little better. You can sort of see how this fits in. It comes into that groove, and we're going to bring this and bring this around. Make sure to fold in that heel, sort of bring that all together. And then we're going to come here, and the wheels will tab together. They have 3 tabs that are right next to 3 slots, so you just kind of wiggle them together until they decide to slide into place. There we go. And then we just want to make sure that this is all compact as much as we can as it comes untabbed again. So there is that. And we do want to tab these feet together. And they did just make the same foot twice since it was on a ball joint, because you can see there's a tab here, same as here. So a little weird, but it's a thing. And then I believe there's something else I need to do with this. Right, pretty sure you squeeze that together so that these are sort of level. Then as for the head, you're supposed to fold this chest piece up and bring the head back. I do like to turn the head around just to make it hide a little bit better. And we just sort of bring this flat like this so that it sort of fits into that cavity a little better. We are going to straighten out her arms and bring them in. And there is a little slot right here on the end of her arm. There's a little tiny tab right here. That's kind of hard to see, but it's like right there on the inside. And you just want to bring that and slide it into that slot on her arm, and it doesn't really hold, honestly. It's very tiny and not the best. But you also want to take this tab on her arm, this one right here, and it's going to tab into this slot in her thigh like so. Then you can sort of use that to push the shin piece further in, and that'll help lock it in a little better. Yeah, just bring this, tab it in, bring this over, and just sort of connect this as best as it'll do. And now we want to fold this whole assembly over, and we want to fold this piece up and bring it back, and there are 2 little slots here and 2 little tabs to help try and lock this whole assembly in place. And then there are 2 slots here and here that are going to go over these tabs on our arms right above where the thigh tab is, like so, and like so. And then for this silver piece here, I should probably bring the camera down a little bit, you're gonna fold that up a little bit. It'll just sort of click into place. And then there is a slot here and here two little tabs on like what is essentially her ankles, right by the knees. I'm gonna bring this down and tab those together, and I accidentally popped that out. Tab that back in. And now that we're finally here at the end, she is a lot more stable due to just everything now holding together or having multiple tabs in place. It is still possible to like accidentally squeeze something out of place, but once you finally get everything tabbed in, she does hold together reasonably well. And it's barely, but there is clearance there if you lined everything up right, which I don't think I did. So maybe I need to... No, that's worse. Just, yeah. Nope. And I just untabbed everything again. Come on. There you go. Fight me about getting back in there. Come on. There we go. Yeah. I think I did something slightly out of place because I'm pretty sure I normally have at least enough tolerance to roll her. But yeah, right now her head's touching the ground instead of the back wheels. But the fact that there's, you know, there's normally not much clearance in the first place is kind of like a bit of a flaw, I'll admit. But I do think I didn't line things up perfectly either. But yeah, that's kind of better. The very tip of her head is still kind of touching the ground, but she does at least roll somewhat. But we can take the jetpack now and put it onto this big peg right here. Just kind of pop that on, and it'll just sort of sit there and kind of cover up all that empty back because it's pretty bare bones. So there is that. And if you want to store the gun, it does peg into these shoulder ports. Or wait, no, it doesn't. Does it? Could have sworn it did. I'm missing something, aren't I? Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't fit in there. Was it one of the tab? I could have sworn it's stored on the side. Am I imagining things? Oh, I remember. This tab is how it goes into the port. Like that. Because it's the right size. It's a very flat peg. How about that? But yeah, you can do it like that. I do believe everything's just coming unpegged. I do wish this was more solid. Because like again, it passes shake test, but it's not that hard to bump things out of place. And it's anyway. And these tabs or these slots up here are just too big for the gun, so it doesn't work there. But there we have her in her sort of Cybertron like motorcycle. So yeah, but we'll do a couple of quick comparisons here. Here she is next to the Bumblebee movie B-127. I know I got some other vehicles around here. Here she is next to a Viacon, the ACP Viacon. And since he's already like 90% of the way there, I'll just finish this up real fast. If I can get, come on. Come on. Should do at least one of these. There we go. Here she is next to the Studio Series Bumblebee. So we at least have one cast member vehicle comparison. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, overall, she's alright. I don't feel like it was justified to wait a whole year for this compared to the other cast members. Honestly, think it's pretty ridiculous we had to wait a whole year just to get our final main cast member. Still don't have a prime changer for her either. I don't know if they're gonna do any more prime changers. Probably not at this point. They're kind of already moving on to Cyberverse as the main kids line, so yeah, I don't know. Again, she's not terrible, but I definitely don't think she's the best. Honestly, if I'm being brutally honest, I think a 6 out of 10 is what I would give her. She's interesting enough that I feel like, you know, people who really want to complete the cast and who like Elita 1 would want to pick her up, but like the average fan or just, you know, someone who, you know, likes the toys for the toys, I don't think they would really enjoy this that much. So that's just my personal take. Yeah, I think that given the weirdness of her vehicle mode, there was already going to be some compromises, but I do think, like, considering it took them a whole extra year to get her out compared to the rest, I feel like they could have, like, maybe polished her up a little bit more, I guess. I don't know. Again, I do think the figure looks nice, but I don't think she compares to the other three. Because, like, out of the other three, the one I like the least is Bumblebee, and that's mostly just because of this, you know, huge gap he's got in his vehicle mode. That's really my only thing that still bugs me about him after having him this long. But, yeah, like, the tabbing issues, the fact that her chest doesn't stay in place, and some of the plastic, like, on her sides does feel a little thin. Like, I don't think it's so thin that it's gonna break super easy, but, you know, it definitely shows, like, that they're still, you know, trying to pinch every penny they can on these figures. So, it is what it is. And I also think it was kind of lame that they didn't include blast effect ports for even the gun. Like, I can kind of understand not putting it on the jetpack with how flat it is, but I think the gun should have had some. But, yeah, I'll quit rambling. I've given my thoughts, and, you know, overall, I think I'm more disappointed in that, like, I feel like this figure just kind of got the short stick. And even though she's still decent, I feel like they could have, I feel like they have done better. So, but that'll be it for this review. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. So this is Soul Prime 13 saying transform and soul out.